And now, coming live from the brand new Midwest Rex and Rod studio, it's the Outdoor Show with your host. He's not heavy, he's my brother, Scott Biscobing. And you all know who I am, but you see me for the first time. Not really, I've been on a couple times. Drew Biscobing with special in-studio guest, Midwest Rex and Rod's very own Mikey Thalen.
All right, guys, welcome to the new studio. We are very pleased to be joining you guys here from the new Midwest Rex and Rod's outdoor studio. It's been quite the undertaking this last month and a half, I would say. Well, probably about 2 months since our last show that we did with Chris. Is his farewell episode that we did, kind of announcing the changes that are happening here. And we went from a situation where we're like, okay, well, what next? Because the studio was set up in Chris's place. And for those of you guys that don't know or didn't catch that last episode or who are new to following us, and if you are, make sure you like and subscribe, both here and on our YouTube page as well. But back to it. So Chris got a job opportunity to move to the North Woods of Wisconsin, which has been actually a lifelong dream of his anyways. So it just was one of those situations where it came now and with the job opportunity, and he had to jump on it, and we wish him all the best and everything going forward. He's still a part of the team.
Still a part of the team.
100%. He'll be providing content. He'll make appearances on shows from time to time when he can. And but moving forward, we were in a situation where, okay, what do we do next here? We didn't really have a studio or anything.
You say 2 months like it was a long time, and really, it went really quick.
It did once we got into it because, I was looking for like office space in that to rent and kind of build a studio in that. And, obviously there was some criteria that needed to be met there. For one, we needed 24/7 access, and some places weren't going to provide that. Two, cost. It was a big thing. We do this for the fun and the enjoyment out of it. We don't really do this as a money-making thing so much, but
or at all,
at all at this point. We're hoping to bring in a little income.
Oh, wrong one.
We're hoping at some point, anyways, that we can recoup some of the costs of getting this thing built here. But it's just something that we're passionate about doing and we enjoy doing. And so, anyways, the cost of renting a place was one, and then utilities, and obviously we got to have good internet service here and stuff. So, as it was, went out to the bar one night and messaged one of my buddies and said, "Hey, I'm down. I don't go out too often in that, but if you want to come down and have a beer." So he came down and he said, "Well, what's going on now with Midwest? What are you guys going to do? What's the plan moving forward?" And I said, "I don't really know." I kind of told him what I was looking for and planning, and he said, "Well, why don't you build a studio in the lower level of my business?" And that it's pretty much wide open in that. So big shout out to our good friends Paul Bland, the owner of ETA Solutions, which, by the way, this episode is brought to you by ETA Solutions.
Brought to you by ETA Solutions.
And one of my longtime best friends, Bob Bland, his brother, who's the manager here in that, and they welcomed us in with open arms, kind of give us free range of doing this however we wanted to do it. It was a wide open space. We built an actual room, an actual studio here, and with walls, and we think we got the acoustics right in here. We'll see what you guys think after the show here. You let us know if you think there's anything we can improve on as far as that goes. But so we've just been after it the last 2 months here, trying to get this thing built. We had a friend come in, or somebody that we had just recently met, but turns out that we had a lot of mutual friends together.
Yep.
James came in and framed it out for us, and we did the rest of the building ourselves. And, it's like that honestly was the easy part, really.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
it took time and that, but it's like, yeah, we know how to build things and use saws and that for the most part, anyways. I mean, we're
Still
no
have all of
carpenters.
our digits.
Right.
They're all there.
But it was like getting to that point where, you know, once the walls are built and everything's set up, and then it's getting lighting right and the way you want it, you kind of have a vision in your head of what what you want it to be, and then trying to get that. So I hope you guys like what you're seeing here on screen right now. And there's going to be a few minor changes here. We didn't get to do a lot of stuff actually in the system per se, just because it's just been a time crunch here getting.
Well, and then 2 weeks, you know, I was out of the mix. My kidneys
That's
acted
right.
up. I had a surgery, so you know, Mikey even had to step up and help out, which was great. Really appreciate that. But
Yeah, Mike spent a whole weekend here. Well, we took some time away to take a break from all the concrete
Try
and
to go
brick.
shed hunting.
Right. Did a little shed hunting and that, and that was a nice reprieve from constantly being in here, because we talk about always outdoors, right? Always outdoors, but it just didn't feel like it for the last 2 months being kind of cooped up in here. I mean, outside of shed hunting and I mean, the ice is pretty much melted here in Wisconsin. I know a lot of guys are getting on open water, getting after those walleyes and stuff, but you know, it was nice to take that little break, get out, enjoy nature for half a day, and then get right back down here and keep building. So get the carpeting laid and stuff. And so we're really excited that you guys have stuck with us here, and we hope you continue to, because we got a lot of things in store, and things are only going to continue to progress as we move along. So with that said, I'd like to say hello to longtime team member from Jump Street, Mike Thalen.
Thank you.
Mike is a man of few words, just so
Oh, yeah?
everybody's aware. But what he says, you know, he'll get you with it. So, but no, Mike and I have known each other since middle school, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I think like 6th grade.
Yep. Silverbrook, yeah.
Yep, Silverbrook Middle School. The Vikings.
the Vikings, the Vikings. That's right.
So we brought Mike on the show. He was, for those of you who've been following from the beginning, Mike was on like one of our very first episodes, like maybe season 1, episode 2 or 3 a few years ago there. So it's nice to bring him back in the studio here and just kind of shoot the breeze and as we talk about the outdoors. But if you guys have any comments or anything like that you know, about the studio or anything like that, or topics that you want us to discuss, definitely let us know. We do have quite a few guests lined up for this upcoming year. A lot of stuff was predicated on getting this finished and the timing of this, so now we're getting those time slots filled up to bring you guys some continued content. But anyways, yeah, Mike, so again, welcome. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. But no, just to back up, I mean, yeah, by the time I got around to coming over and helping, you guys had so much of this stuff done already. It was amazing how to think of what you can see around the outside of the studio, what it looks like, and to think you guys started from scratch. It's amazing what you guys already had done, and I just came in for some of the final touches.
Yeah,
But
much
how
needed.
fast you got it done, too.
Well, as our wives can contest, we've spent a lot of time away from home over this time period here.
That's an understatement.
It's been a lot of late nights here. In fact, this week I've been here most nights. I think what was the other night, it was the earliest night I left, and that was like 8 o'clock.
Was that the night I was here?
Yeah. Right. Otherwise, it's usually been about 10 o'clock at night that I'm rolling out, and the kids are
I'm
already
old.
in bed, and the
If-
wife's
if
in
I'm
bed.
not in bed by 9 o'clock on a school night, it's the whole week is shot.
I'm running out of lots of coffee. It's been a lot of coffee to get this thing going. So it's just weird, you know, when you do something like this that, you know, it's like, okay, you got a game plan, all right, build this, build that, or whatever, but it's all those little things.
Oh,
And to me, it was always like when you worked on a car or whatever, like a simple thing, you know, a brake job, but then something won't break loose or something like that, or you do whatever it is. There's always something that you know, we're planning on this. We got about 4 hours to work on this and that, and you expect a lot more progress, and you get done, you're like, what the heck just happened? You know, that was just.
happened to the past 6 hours?
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
I think, though, to just illustrate that, we did get a lot done, was our passion for it.
Right.
We were excited to get back in the studio for all of you guys and gals out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that really, instilled that drive in us to get it done. We wanted to get it done. We were dedicated, like you read about at that point.
Right.
So to be sitting here right now in front of you guys, it's exciting.
It is.
It's very exciting.
It's very exciting. It's just great that it just feels like this is where we belong now. It's our new home. We have space on the outside of the studio and that. This is basically not just a studio, but it's now our new office going forward, and where we can work on video, editing video and stuff like that, where it was kind of difficult in the past, being that it was in one guy's house and not having access to this as much as I would like to, because I actually do have some time during the day, certain days a week, that I can get in here and I can put in 8 hours worth of work, during the middle of the week and get some stuff done. So, but not to dwell on the whole studio thing anymore, but let's get back to talking about what we really love, and that's the outdoors. And like Mike, you and I, we were just out shed hunting there, and it went about the way it normally goes.
Yeah. At least we didn't spend so much time finding nothing.
Right.
But you found one right away, and that was good.
Right. I found a match set right away.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we were about maybe 5-10 minutes into it. And I said, I was cresting this hill, and I said, oh, there's one right there. And I instantly started looking around, and right on the other side of the trail, it was definitely a situation where he shook his head, and they just went flying off on either side of the trail that he was walking on there. So.
Yeah, otherwise, we haven't really ever had a whole lot of luck. Some chewed up little ones, things like that.
Yeah. Well, we found a few.
Some oddballs.
Yeah.
But on
match sets are tough to find.
Certain part of our property, yeah.
Sure. But I'd like to hear from you guys. How's your shed hunting season been going? I've been seeing on social media and that, and some of you guys have posted on some of our statuses, updates that we've had or whatever, shared some of those pictures, and looks like you guys are finding some nice ones out there. But we'd love to hear from you guys on that as well. In fact, let's see here. We do have some people chiming in here. Hi, Kim and Steve. Steve, you made it. You weren't sure if you were going to be able to watch the show tonight. Pops is on, and Brenda, how you doing? She said, looks good and sounds awesome. Nick says, studio looks good. Very nice, guys. Chris is chiming in. Chris, you made it on. So Chris is actually moving today. Like, I was over at his house yesterday and loading up. He had to go get another U-Haul truck, 2 trucks to get all of his stuff packed up, and they moved up there, and he was hoping he was going to be able to catch the show. He says, hello from the Northwoods, just unpacked, and it's cocktail time. Miss you, and thank you, Scott, for everything. Well, thank you, Chris, for everything. And like I told you last night, you're always a part of the show and a part of this team, that nothing's going to change there. He also says, man, I miss doing the show. Already, Chris? Well, you have to make it back down here, buddy, and we'll get you on the show for sure. Back in your seat again, and we'll have a good time. We appreciate all you guys chiming in with your comments and things like that. So one of the things I actually wanted to talk about, I wanted to talk specifically just about the outdoors. And what I mean by that is I wanted to talk about let us share a little bit about like what the outdoors has meant to us over the years, and maybe a little bit about how it's changed our lives. So we're going to just go ahead and start with our guest here, Mike. Why don't you, because like I said, it's been a while since you've been on the show. Why don't you kind of fill people in a little bit on your start in the outdoors, because it wasn't really something that you grew up with so much. Not that you weren't ever out in the outdoors, but the hunting and fishing side so much, right?
Yeah, the hunting end of it I didn't really do when I was younger. It wasn't until you asked me and some other guys if we wanted to start going deer hunting, and that pretty much started it. I think that was 2011, if I remember right.
Yeah, 2010, 2011, right around there, I think is when you started, yep.
I think that's the first Fleet Farm hat I have. So that is the exact reason why I remember when I started hunting. But no, that started, and then you were itching to have somebody to go bow hunting with. So then we got a bow, and then we started.
Yeah.
Which I had shot when I was young, but I hadn't done it in a long time, and picked up that quick and
Yeah,
started bow hunting. And
you did.
yeah, after once you got into bow hunting, even though I didn't get anything for a while, gun hunting was still fun, but it was nothing like bow hunting and being that involved.
Didn't get anything for a while. I'm sorry. When did you take your first deer bow hunting?
It was probably 4 years after I started.
4 years.
4 years, yeah.
Yeah. And he got,
Yeah, it was
the
like-
first one was a small doe. And then,
Yep, it was like 90 degrees out, and
Yeah.
just went out in the afternoon.
I'm sure I told this story before, but I'll tell it again here. So Mike had been a little frustrated in that, as we all get in that, about, not shooting anything. And there's something about, like, training your eyes for the woods and that. Because there would be times where I'd be like, well, I saw, 16 deer or something like that. And what? Like, he's like, I saw one, like, and I didn't even get a shot or anything. I'm like, well, I didn't say I had shots at all of them or anything like that. But, your eyes need to kind of become trained to picking them up and stuff. And so obviously there's a learning curve in that. And in fact, your first year is actually with the bow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not even with the gun. So it was with the bow. And it was early season. It was kind of like late September, and it was hot out that day. And I was heading to my spot, and he was heading to where he was going to go. And as I'm walking to my spot, I almost step on a rattlesnake in that. And I was like, it was like one of those things where it was like, I almost stepped on him and I backed up. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, I don't want to hunt in this spot anymore. In that, I'm like, I'm going to go, because I was actually kind of on the fence on that spot anyways. I'm like, I'm going to go to this other one. And as I did, I could see by now a good 45 minutes, an hour had gone by. And since Mike and I had split up to go to our spots, and I looked down this way and I said, is that Mike? What is he doing out of his tree? And I'm thinking, no freaking wonder the guy doesn't shoot anything. Why is he not in his tree? I mean, I was way down by the river and that, and I'm like backtracking all this way to go to a different spot. And that, so I'm like, God damn it, I'm going to go over there and find out what's going on. I walk up and you're just kind of like meandering around. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, oh, I hit one. And I'm like, really? I was like, I didn't even make it to a stand yet. And so lo and behold, it actually didn't probably go about 20, 30 yards.
Yeah.
In that. You
Not
were just
very
kind of
far.
looking at the spot where the arrow was. And so there, lo and behold, we found it. And he got his first one. And then, Mike, you want to tell the story on what happened a little bit later on that fall?
Then I got my first buck too with the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was all that time. Going back to like you were saying, where you train your eyes, and that's true, because I think when you first start, you don't know, because you haven't shot anything before and you didn't really do it, so you're thinking like, I only have to look right here because this is the only place I'm shooting. So you're so focused on like something's gonna come. Like you don't know, is this thing just gonna come flying out of nowhere?
Right.
You don't know. So like as you get into it and you know that, okay, I'm going to see this or something, you start looking out farther. So I mean, yeah, there probably are a lot of them I would have seen if I was
Right.
concentrating way out there and stuff. But yeah, for sure, it was frustrating because it wasn't like I would keep shooting and missing or anything. I just never even had anything to even try to shoot at. So.
Right.
But yeah, getting that first one was nice. And then that fall, it was during the rut, and I was actually able to like call it in too and work it towards me to, I don't know, 28 yards or so out in front. Yeah, that was pretty special to be able to do the calling and stuff. Sometimes it's like, okay, it came out of nowhere and all of a sudden it was standing in front of you and you shot. Well, that's always great, but when you got to actually sit there and work it to make it come to you, it adds a extra amount of effort and makes it a little bit extra special.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is that particular hunt, we were actually not hunting very far away from each other at all. We were both working the same wind, but, and I know it sounds strange, but I think we were, over 100 yards, but maybe 150, something like that. It really wasn't super far. And the thing is, like we couldn't see each other at all. I mean, there's no way to see each other where we are, but it was so quiet. It was dead quiet. It
was at that time where the wind dies down and everything just goes real quiet before it gets dark. And it was last light, and I heard that arrow hit that deer.
No kidding.
And I immediately, I think I text you right away, and then you're not responding. That I was like, because I knew you hit a deer, like that sound in that. And finally he texts back, because I didn't want to get out of my stand. I didn't know what the situation was. I didn't, because of how close we were. I was also kind of like, is there any other deer around? What, if it runs this way, I'm going to keep my eyes open so we, easier track job for it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was, doe buck or anything. And finally, I think you text me back, and you're like, yeah, I think I shot a nice one. So,
Yeah.
and it was a really nice 8-pointer. And funny story about that too is our other friend Tim was up, and who doesn't bow hunt or didn't at that time, and he was a gun hunter. And because this was the rut, he wanted to get a ground blind set up for gun hunting, and he was thinking about getting into bow hunting at that time. And we said, well, okay, well, we're gonna go for an afternoon hunt. We'll go out early. Let's get that blind set up. And why don't you just sit in your blind tonight, and just see what you see in that, and see how you feel about the spot for in a couple weeks when gun starts. And so he's so the whole time I said, we'll come by and we'll pick you up, and I told him, I said, Mike shot a buck. I said, you just sit tight because we haven't tracked it yet. I don't want you walking this way and bumping them or anything like that. So he's just sitting in there, and there's coyotes howling. And he's like, he doesn't have a flashlight, nothing else. And the coyotes just keep coming in closer and closer. I mean, they're just freaking coyotes or whatever. But,
Right.
When we
It can still be a little unnerving.
Sure, especially when you got no flashlight, no nothing with you.
Yeah.
You said, and his battery was really low on his phone. He had been using like the flashlight on his phone, but it was just sucking the battery. And so we finally came by and got him or whatever. I said, okay, well, let's come help us drag this buck out. He's like, it's about time. He's like, did you hear those coyotes kept getting closer and closer? I'm like, they would be more interested in looking for Mike's buck than they would be in you, buddy. But anyways, that was
Well,
Okay.
yeah, and that was the first time too. So that was the second deer I gutted, and
yeah.
sitting there, you guys went to get the sled or something. You went to get Tim probably, Justin.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, I'm elbow deep in this thing with all your stuff laying all over. You got your one crummy little headlight on, trying to do this, and yeah, you're just hearing all the coyotes all running. It's pitch black out. And
Yeah, they were getting really close.
So that was the first. No, you don't really notice it too much. It's like, whatever. They're not going to come, but it's
Right.
like
Yeah,
that first time,
if you're
like-
if you're somewhat new to the outdoors and that,
pitch
but
black. You're sitting over this wide open deer, and
yeah, you're like, oh, the blood is just wafting. It's like sharks circling. These little coyotes, pups. Because we really don't have any. It's like every picture we have of coyotes, which we've got a lot of them lately. In that they're just like, is that a fox? There's like coyote. They're so small, but so anyways, so that was about 4 years into it. You said when you first got it and that,
so.
but and then and we were also turkey hunting all along then too, like pretty much from the get go and that. Like I had done a little bit of turkey hunting many years ago in that, and then I had said, well, hey, if you're liking this one, why don't we do some turkey hunting too? Like we got there's plenty of turkeys around. We see them all the time when we're hunting and that. And it was one of those things where I was like, everybody says how great turkey hunting is. Like I think this year is, year 12 or something like that, the 12th season, or whatever that we will have been turkey hunting. 11 or 12, something like that. But and for us, we just went into that thing like pretty blind for the most part, like
know where
self-taught.
they were on the land. Just took a stab at where we see them when we hunt.
Yep. And just kind of taught ourselves as we went along. Like, with a lot of things, usually there's some sort of mentor. Like I mentored you, with the deer hunting part of it, both gun and bow, and just understanding, what things to look for and different sign in that. But when you're, a novice turkey hunter, but it was, to me, I would almost have had it any other way, because the learning process and the things that we've learned and we continue to learn has been, fantastic. It's super enjoyable. And
you feel much more accomplished when you actually when we got that first bird. Even though I got that one, but it was like a joint effort because we had worked so hard. It was like several years, like getting so close. They're just about in, and not realizing like if you were overcalling or undercalling or maybe moving too much or something like that. We were just always so close, but not getting it done. And then we finally had the opportunity, and I got a shot at one and was able to take it. It was just like, oh yeah, now we're turkey hunters now, baby. I don't know, for you, where does, between deer and turkey, I mean, is there a hierarchy there for you?
I think it's two different things. I mean, it's nice. I mean, deer hunting is certainly a totally solo, you're getting everything out of it that you put into it, a solo effort. But yeah, with turkey hunting, it's kind of like, for a while when I would go, before I started deer hunting, I was still like duck or goose hunting. And it was nice because you literally are just hanging out with somebody, 2 or 3 other people, whatever, and you don't have to be quiet. You don't have to do anything. You just stand there, hang out, and then, hey, there's something. And then hopefully they're close enough and you shoot them. So it was a lot more relaxing, which is what, now that you and I, and then now that Drew comes too for a few years now. Yeah, it's just a whole different aspect of just being able to hang out and talk and do anything, and just hopefully pay attention once in a while before they're right in front of you.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was.
Or the deer come and chase them off right as soon as they
Right.
get close.
Oh God, how many times does that happen, right?
Right.
That was last year, right? That we stayed out in the blind for what 13 hours because we were so.
That was like 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
A couple years ago.
I do not recommend that to anybody. 3 guys in what should be probably a 2-man blind.
And I think I was just filming.
Yeah, you were just filming, so you didn't even have a gun in there, and it
Right, I
was
got my bird the week before. That's right.
super cramped, and I think my legs finally stretched out a few weeks ago.
Those little triangle seats don't kind of dig in you after about 4
Really
hours.
cramping the Hardy Boys. It's no mystery. But yeah, but to that point, it is 2 totally different things. But if I had to choose one, it would be turkey all the way. I've only been doing it 3 years now.
This will be your fourth. Yeah.
Fourth year, and it's just exhilarating. Really enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun calling them in. I still need to learn how to call them myself. Thankfully, you guys call them for me, but I think it's I don't know. It's an experience. The weather's a little bit better, right? It's a little bit nicer. Like you said, you can hang out, you can talk, maybe take a nap.
Right. I mean, and a lot of guys don't even hunt all day either. They'll hunt the morning and sometimes that's it.
Yeah, I wish you. I mean, you asked us. Well, it's up to you. I got my bird. You guys want to stay out here, and we were so dedicated.
And the thing of it is there was opportunities there too, like in the middle of the day. Like you could have taken a Jake that year.
Yeah.
But you said no, I'm not going to take a Jake. I want a Tom, and that. Okay, there's nothing wrong with taking a Jake. No wrong. I mean, take a Jake, whatever. But it's legal. Do what you want to do. But you were gung ho about getting a Tom.
Hindsight being 2020. I'll go in for lunch this year, I think.
Yeah. No, well, it ties into deer hunting too. You're like, well, we're only here for a day and a half. You're gonna just go out for a couple hours and then just go do whatever,
Right.
For the rest of the day, it's like, well, no, you really got to stay out there the whole time just in case, because that's the only time you have to hunt. So,
Right. And it'll be the only time a nice big fat Tom goes. A nice 3 bearded Tom.
Yeah, right.
I was in getting a salami sandwich.
Yeah, but I think with turkey hunting, I think you were kind of alluding to that with bow hunting and gun or just deer hunting in general, it's much more solo unless you're doing deer drives and things like that. But and a lot of guys do prefer turkey hunting solo, and they prefer to go hardcore full camo, which we've done that plenty of times too, where we back up against a tree and they have full mask and just call from there. And then there's other times where we do set up a couple decoys and hunt out of the blind.
Well, I mean, going back to last year, how exciting was that when we set up that ground blind? Right? It wasn't even like a blind; it was just some camouflage mesh that you stake into the ground,
Right.
and we had that Tom that was playing hide and seek with us. About what was he, 30 yards out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
But
poking
just
his head
but
out.
never giving us a shot, right?
But I mean, blood was pumping, you know. And I think that's, you know, the fact that they're more vocal to me is part of the excitement, right? It's it's part of the hunt. To me, I've never called in a deer, not once, not ever. You know,
Yeah, it's a different. It's a different thing.
with
I think the first time you filmed for me, you weren't even hunting, and I did some calling in that, and you heard this gobbler 300 yards away gobble. You're like, he did that because you just did that, like, you know.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if it was like that, but you were like, that's awesome, like, you know, like that what you just did there caused this bird
Yeah.
that was, you know, 3 football fields away to like go nuts. And
I was sold. I
Well-
mean, instantly.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. That was last year. We saw right before basically where it's like, well, give up and go home kind of thing was that those ones all the way across the field
Yeah,
up on the top where it's like we spent like an hour and a half working on
it
this
was
thing.
longer than that.
And
I
they would
think.
come and then they'd stop and then it would and then they'd come back again and then everything was happening.
it was so henned up.
Scott's narrating. He was like, okay, well, they're probably going to do this, and then this is going to happen. And sure enough, it's exactly what happened. Those hung out, those walked away, and it's like, okay, this is it. And then, yeah, but nothing
Yeah, and
happened.
he
But it's
got-
like that was super exciting, and you got nothing out of it as far as
Right.
the birds coming to us, but that was super exciting. An hour of kneeling and diving around.
Barrel rolls.
Yeah, and I was
Trying
going
to-
to say, don't
trying to
sell
get a
yourself short.
decoy
You're a
out.
hardcore, Scott. I've seen I've seen that body barrel roll across the 4-wheeler trail out in the field, trying to get closer to the turkeys that time.
Army crawl, barrel rolls.
And
yeah,
that's when the 2 deer came running across
Oh, yeah,
and
that-
scared away the turkeys we were stalking.
that was fun. I mean, they got so close. They just needed. We're in a position because they were so wide open in that, and I went and moved this hen decoy out and that because they just were so hung up. And once they saw that and we called, then they started coming in, and I'm on the ground and I got to get away. So I'm like, I barrel roll through the grass and that to get behind cover.
Holding the decoy up,
Right.
trying to roll over.
Right? Like rolling, switching hands. Yeah, that would have been funny if you had that on video. But, and then lo and behold, they're just about. They need to take, I don't know, 10.
Coming like 10 more feet. Not 10 more yards, 10 more feet. And here comes these couple does. And they come right in between. I mean, these deer were like so freaking close.
Close to us, and they come through, and it gets the toms. These 2 toms because we were like ready to do the 1, 2, 3. Let's double down here, and they backed off, and then the does left. And called them back in. They start coming back in. Here comes these 2 does back, and just like totally running interception.
Right.
Like
Well, and then
stopping them, and like it was just the most unreal thing. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
that happened.
That was quite a few years ago.
Yeah, that
No,
was-
I was saying with us, we had a similar
yeah.
instance.
A couple years ago.
That Tom was coming up on the high line,
Yep.
and sure enough, these deer come trotting through the pines, and we're like, "Are you got to be kidding?"
And they're
me?"
just like poking around, looking
Right.
over at us, and that, like, just like not. And you're like, come on, you got to be kidding me. This is unbelievable. Like that they're like total. It's a thing out there, I guess, on our leases that the deer have like some sort of partnership with the turkeys that they like. Hey, no, don't go over there. Don't go over there.
Right. It's like when you hear the squirrels yelling, it's the squirrels telling the deer that I'm up in this tree. Sons of guns.
But anyways, not to talk all about turkey hunting, but
But we could. I mean, if that's what you want, just
oh,
let
sure.
us know. I'll talk turkey all night long.
But Mike, back to the outdoors. The fact that now that you've been doing it for a long, would you say that how has it affected your life, or what have you learned about yourself being more involved in the outdoors than what you were, say, 12 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, as you do it, you get a better understanding for what's all involved and all the people you've known all this while that hunted. Where you're like, okay, so you went out there and waited, and then you shot something. And certainly, there are people that do that, and that's fine. There's plenty of people that do that, but yeah, you can certainly get as far into it as you want, and then you feel that reward. Then, if you really put into it all this effort and a plan. As you know, you can spend a little bit of time, you can spend a ridiculous amount of time, but it's something that you can do, that you get a better understanding for nature and the animals out there, regardless of what it is. You start to pay attention to how squirrels act. You pay attention to how those turkeys over there act, or whatever that thing in that tree over there is that's been making noise for the last 4.5 hours. Yeah, and just weather, and it's just a better understanding of just simply the outdoors and being outside with nature. And
Yeah.
It has a
It's
very
hard to-
calming
yeah,
effect.
yeah,
Right?
it's just a learned, relaxing time. I mean, you can get anxious. Some days you're just sick and you just want to see something, or something like that. Maybe you didn't get to go out there very often that year or something, but it's still always a relaxing and just peaceful time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and obviously some people say, the non-hunters would say, well, you can get that without actually killing something, and that you can get the peace in that. But it's more than just that connection with nature. I don't think you're really connected with nature until you are actually killing something, to be honest with you, because there's something very primitive and
Animalistic about it, right? I mean, you're becoming part of
Right.
nature at that point.
Right, we're top of the food chain. I mean, that's just the way it is.
I mean, a lion might beg to differ, but
Okay. I mean, but no, as man, because we have the weapons and that,
Right.
we are top of the food chain. I mean, regardless of what other critters are out there, I think I think that's where the real connection comes in, is, and it's not, and I'm not trying to say that it's all about the kill, but I
Right.
think when you're out there, when you're one-on-one, going after an animal, especially like a mature buck or something like that, I mean, that's like next level stuff there,
Oh, yeah.
It's one thing anybody can go out there and, shoot a doe or, something like that, or even kill a turkey. I mean, turkeys can be really tough to hunt at times, but there's also times they're just so stupid. They're a dumb bird.
But then then you can take it next level, like Dan Fault or Whitetail Adrenaline.
Oh yeah, I mean,
And
there's
that's
a lot of people that, are next level and then some.
and then some.
Right.
It's mind blowing.
Well, and you're not out there just, like I said, well, why can't you enjoy it and not shoot something? Well, you can, but you're not just going out there like, I'm just going to shoot anything and just leave it there. It's like, it's a lot of work. You probably are staring at that thing in the eyes for a couple minutes, unless it just comes out of nowhere and surprises
Isn't
you.
that longer, right?
You've been staring at it. It is, you have that emotional, like, well, sure seems happy enough just sitting there eating whatever's on the ground. Well, is it good enough? Should I shoot it? It's like there is a thought process that goes into every deer. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, am I just shooting it because I need to shoot something to make myself feel better that I came up here and I got something?
Right.
Or is it actually something you want to shoot? So I mean, it's not just a willy-nilly anything brown, just shoot it, or anything.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And even more than that, when you do make the kill, right, you have that moment where it's just you and that animal that you decide to take their life, and it's a very somber, exciting,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
But there's that moment where you feel
there's
like
reverence.
right. Yes, thank you. That is exactly the word I'm looking for. But yeah, I mean, anybody can go out and kill an animal, like you said, but it's not about necessarily just the killing. It's about the experience. It's about the hunt. It's about the time and effort that's going into it.
Yeah, I mean, countless hours.
and becoming a part of nature in that moment. you
Right.
know?
Circle of life.
Well,
Right.
and having the respect for the animal, regardless of what it is, but to know that you have a good shot. And I mean, yeah, you can still mess it up or whatever, but it's like you
Yeah.
think that you have a very good shot that it ideally will just fall over. Best
Mhm.
case, you'll just shoot it and it falls over dead. You don't want it to run off. You don't want it to run off and, die 6 hours
Right.
later or the next day or anything like that. I mean, the goal is to end
Quick
its
and
life
painless,
as
yeah.
quick as possible, because that's what it's about, is to kill it but not make it suffer,
Right.
regardless of what it is.
Ethical, yeah.
Yeah.
Clean, ethical kill for sure. Would you say that? Okay, outside. Would you say that the outdoors has actually changed your life, though? I mean, like being a part of it now. I mean, obviously, it's changed in ways that I have to go and buy this and
Spend a
that.
lot of
and
money on
spend a lot of- but outside of that, like as a person, has it changed you? Do you think as a person?
I think so. I mean, for me, I mean, it taught you how to calm down and relax, and you got into that practice of being like, I can just come sit here for 8 hours straight and barely move. It's like it just kind of went into the rest of your life. It's just more of a peaceful thing.
Like a discipline.
Right?
It helps discipline you.
Yeah. Yeah, and it also gets in your head that, you don't need a million expensive fancy things or this or that to keep yourself occupied or interested. It's like you can just walk outside and do that, and that's more than enough to satisfy you.
Right, absolutely. I mean, I guess same question for you, Drew. I mean, obviously you started hunting when you were like 12 years old, with me and Dad and that. But
Don't call that hunting.
no, it was though. I mean, yeah, and there was and then you kind of got away from it a little bit,
Yeah.
for just a short period of time in that. But then when you came back, you kind of had like this renewed appreciation or passion for it, where like now you want to get into it more, go diving in head first, and not just kind of, this is just my observation anyways, but like not just going through the motions of the way things were for years and just kind of taking it for granted. Not, maybe that's not the right term, but maybe a little bit. But now like going in and be like, yeah, this is what I really want to do in that. And I don't know if you want to comment
Yeah.
further
So
or elaborate.
no, I think that's a good point, right? And having you and Dad, right, kind of show me the ropes. I didn't have to do much. I didn't. You guys told me where to sit, told me what to do, told me where to look, and occasionally I would get lucky, and that was good, and that was fun. For me, it was always about the experience, right? Deer camp,
The camaraderie.
oh,
Stuff like that,
it's unparalleled. And then as the old boys move on and they're no longer hunting with us, and we become the old boys. It was it kind of renewed my interest again, and it made it less about deer. It's not to say that I don't enjoy deer camp with you guys and
Mhm.
and the other ones in our party and stuff. That's not the case at all, but it just kind of reiterated why we're actually there, and everything else is just icing and the cherry on top, actually getting out and having that time in nature, becoming a part of nature, becoming a part of the life circle, right? It's exciting. It really is. And, this year I'm hoping I can get a crossbow. If at the very least, I want to get out there and film.
Yeah. Well, no, I disagree. I say anybody can.
And be
and
successful,
anybody should,
I guess,
right?
is
But I
what
mean, you know, and success that's relative, you know, to what you want your experience to be. You know, some people are satisfied at one level and others are not, you know, and neither one is wrong.
Right.
You know, anybody and everybody, you know, can. It's just, you
And
know, should. It's just, you know, whether, you know, what level you want to take it to.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to, you know, and you were, like you said, you were satisfied for many years, you know, at the level of hunting that you were at, and, you know, and at some point, finally, anyways, you know, something switched in your head and you just said, you know, I want to dive in deeper, you know, I want to get more involved.
Believe it or not, I mean, what a big part of what that was getting more into hiking.
Right, you were doing a lot of that before, right?
Yeah, and just reconnecting with nature and understanding the beauty of it made me want to get out more. And what better way to do it than to spend time with family and friends and hunt, you know, and hunt together and
Right.
really enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. So to the same, I guess with the same question I have for Mike, how do you feel like the outdoors has changed your life or affected it? Like let's not take like the early stuff. Let's talk about, say, the last 5 years, you know, like when 5-6 years when you were kind of really dove back in and went into it with a much more deeper passion.
Well, I think, you know, and not to get too sentimental, but I mean, honestly, it's strengthened our relationship, our friendship, right? We have more in common, more things to talk about, more things to do together. Hey,
Right.
You
look
get
at
along,
what we're doing right
you
now.
get along a lot better than you did
It's true.
8 or 9
That
years
is
ago.
true. That
It's
is
true.
true. It's not like that we ever hated each other.
No,
No,
No.
just
No, just
Butted heads.
brothers
More
butting
calm.
heads.
yes,
Right. It's,
Yes,
I
the-
think. Well,
the sibling just
Well, when you have
You know.
something that you both share a passion for, you know, there's really not a whole lot of opportunity to butt heads anymore. So that in itself was a big part that's changed me, and you know, stress level. Honestly, having something to look forward to, actually going through with it and doing it, and then being out there, and again, it's just that connection that you have. It's really hard to describe. I really have a hard time finding the words to describe that when you're sitting in your blind or your tree stand or you know, ground stalking or whatever the case may be. It's so incredibly peaceful to just be in your own thoughts. You know, you have a lot of time out there to be in your thoughts and get your mind right, you know, and to have something to focus on. I just think I don't know. I love it.
yeah, and I mean, and I guess at the end of the day here, you know, for people that are watching or going to watch us or whatever, we're for the most part preaching to the choir too. You know, I think we all kind of, you know, we all have our different reasons, but at the same time, you know, we all get those connections. We understand, you know, what that is. Like, you know, when you're out there and first thing at crack of dawn, you know, sitting in your tree or your blind or whatever it is, and that sun starts cresting and that, and you start to watch the day wake up.
Like this picture right here.
Yeah. You know, the birds start chirping, the animals start moving, and that, like the sun's, you know, rising, all that glistening off of the dewy leaves or whatever it is, you know, it's probably one of my favorite things about being in the outdoors is those day breaks there. So
Yeah, I would agree. I always I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. I think we were hunting together. It might have been my first year turkey, No, it was my year filming you turkey hunting, and it was what kind of day was it? What kind of sky?
Bluebird sky.
A bluebird sky,
Yep.
and that stuck with me. I was like, it is a bluebird sky,
High pressure day.
and it is gorgeous out, and it's going to be a good day whether we see a turkey or not.
Well,
It didn't take long. You dropped a really nice tom that's hanging on the wall over here.
Yeah, I mean, when you get those high pressure systems, you know, it's like the old adage in that, like, you know, a salesman never has his best day on a rainy day. You know, when you got a low pressure system hanging over, it puts people in a bad mood. When you have a high pressure system and bluebird sky and it's sunny, typically people are in a better mood, more apt to purchase. Same thing in nature. You know, the animals are in a better mood. They're more apt to be up on their feet a little bit more. They're not going to be hunkered down. They're in a better mood. You know, if there is such a thing as a deer being
As a mood,
or
yeah.
a turkey or an animal being in a mood, you know, I think it does definitely. There's something to be said, and there's scientific proof. You know that humans, you know, we function
pressure.
better than that with a high pressure system over our heads as opposed to a low. So just ask my 3-year-old at home. My God. Couple days of cloudy, rainy days, and it's just like I'm ready to get. I'd rather be out in the woods in the rain.
I refuse to believe it. Not Spencer.
But yeah, I guess beyond that, I mean, I think for me, anyways, the outdoors is. I mean, that's life for me. You know, outside of family and friends, and that's my happy place. That's where I want to be. That's where I feel most grounded, and I feel right. You know, like this. Not that I don't feel right at home. You know, like I said, or around friends and family or anything, but when all the other stresses of life and the world and that, the outdoors is where I find that peace, and it feels like a second home, and I want to be out there as much as possible. That's why, like I said the other week, I got to take a break from this. We got to go. We got to get outside. And one of the very first things, it wasn't even a very nice morning or anything. No. It had snowed and rained, and we're just getting soaked in that. And one of the first things I said, do you remember? I said, oh, it just feels so good to be out here. You know, like it just, you know, you smell it, you feel it, like it feels so good to be out, whether, you know, you're out shed hunting or out fishing or on a frozen lake or on open water in a boat, you know, whatever it is, like it just, you know, it recharges your batteries, it recharges your soul. And but I guess with that said, we're going to keep this kind of a short show here tonight. Unless you guys have anything else that you want to add. I guess we have a Pop's comment, you can nap deer hunting also.
Well aware, Dad. Well aware.
Oh, and Kim says, I got a turkey caller, Drew.
Yeah, she got me a diaphragm call.
Nice.
No idea what I'm doing. Tried watching some videos. Old
We'll
YouTube,
teach you.
right?
We'll teach you. You'll learn. It takes a little time.
Hey, who's that guy there? It's Chris.
There's Chris. Out in Winnebago there.
Old son of a gun.
All right, guys. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up this show here tonight. We want to thank Mike for coming in and spending some time with us. And
Thanks for having me on again. Hopefully I can start being on a little bit more again.
yeah, absolutely.
That would be great.
As I'm sure Emmett and Ella are almost getting ready to get into bed, which is usually what the cramp of doing it Sunday nights always is.
Yeah, sure.
Everybody's going to work and school the next day.
That
That's
actually-
good. You guys did amazing with the studio so far, and
Hey, you helped. Thanks,
little bit.
Mike.
a little bit. But it can only get better from here.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
excited to see what comes next.
You actually bring up a good point, though, as far as the dates and times and stuff. I kind of want to put it out there and kind of get a feel for what you guys are thinking. You know, we kind of, we used to do Sunday nights a lot. And that can be difficult, especially for guests and whatnot, with Monday being the next day, obviously. So we're thinking about doing a little bit more Saturday nights, and then probably doing a couple shows a month on a weeknight. And I just want to kind of put the feelers out there and see if what you guys think. Is there a particular night that works better for you? Like, I know for me, there's certain shows that I watch that they're regulars in that, and there's certain nights that I can do it, and I make it a point to actually tune in to certain podcasts or live feeds shows similar to this, and that's usually like a Tuesday night or something. But so we're thinking about doing that. Just want to get a little bit of feedback from you guys. What in your mind, what do you think is the better nights to be doing it? I mean, I guess you're going to get varying opinions based on people's schedules and that, but
don't just leave it there. If there's certain topics that you guys want to talk about or hear more of, what piques your interest? What gets you excited about being outdoors? Let's talk about that. Just let us know. If you're not comfortable with leaving a comment, just shoot us a direct message. We'll respond.
Even
I'd love to hear from you.
topics to do even shorter shows. Maybe during the week you just, we should all just come here and talk about just this for, half an hour, just something little that people can watch. And
right.
Doesn't need to be a full. Save the weekend ones for deeper topics or
or Bitcoin, whatever.
Transformers.
Like, I have no idea about any of that.
Yeah, we talk Hollywood a little bit, I mean, nothing going on in there. So. But anyways, guys, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with us. We've been having so much fun getting the studio put together, and we're super excited to do a bunch more shows from here on out. A lot of good things coming up. So
Darn right.
hope you guys are having a good time. And until next time,
Always outdoors.